You are listening to the Screen-to-Screen Selling Talk Show hosted by Doug DeVitri, your source to increasing sales, productivity, and the customer experience. In each show, we will sit down with world-class thought leaders to discuss latest trends, innovative concepts, and ideas to keep you ahead of the curve using the latest technology.
Welcome back, everyone, to the show. Very special guest today, Susan RoAne, the mingling maven, wrote the book on how to work a room. She's got so much wisdom and insight to share. Welcome, Suzanne, to the show.
I am delighted to be here with you, Doug.
You know, when we first met, we met at a conference.
Yeah.
I'm sure you attend a lot of conferences. I attend a lot of conferences. And one of the things you just stood out to me more than anybody else because of, you know, the smile that you had, the way that you welcomed people, the way that you just held a natural conversation, and then I got a chance to hear you talk about a little bit about your book and your work. Tell me what is happening with the world of networking and how, you know, maybe even face-to-face networking is making this transition now to screen-to-screen.
Well, first of all, I wrote this when I wrote Face-to-Face, How to Reclaim the Personal Touch in a Digital World. Came out in 2008. Just about the time The Big Short proved that the economy failed. So the timing wasn't great, but the issue was really big. We need that personal touch. It happens more face-to-face. However, what I said there is confirming what you, with screen to screen, it's not an either or world anymore. It's a both and. So while you're going to say, well, I only go to events, I don't indulge in this. Really? That's ridiculous. And if you say, I'm only screen to screen, oh, I see everyone, I'm face to face with them. Really? But can you actually put out your hand, give a handshake, give a hug? You know what? You got to have both in your life. Having one or the other is okay. Having both is dynamite. So we need to make sure our skills and our comfort level is both screen to screen and, you know, face-to-face. And thank you, Doug, for the kind things. And I would say I had just come from St. Louis as we met, and I was waxing rhapsodic about the gorgeous basilica, and you were getting married there.
Yeah.
Was that our connection? I mean, me of all people, a basilica, I mean, a big cathedral, and it's Susan RoAne waxing about, and it connected us in a very special way. But I also want to say this to our audience. Doug is a person with a smile on his face, a great laugh, and a lot of warmth. So the first thing you need, if you're going to be face-to-face, make sure your face is smiling. Please, this face is so uninviting.
No, don't say that. Not true, not true.
Now, when you don't smile, you know, and some people think they're smiling, but we really have to be sure that we're smiling because that's what invites people to become engaged with us, face-to-face or screen-to-screen.
It's funny you say that because in the book and even right now, we can't see it on my computer, but I have a little sticker right next to the side of my camera that has the word smile, right? Because, you know, how many times you're involved in a conversation and, you know, people will even tell you, hey, you know, are you happy? Well, sometimes you have to remind your face. So I've got a little sticker here on the top of my computer to sometimes remind myself because, hey, you know, if we're not having fun, what's the point? What's not worth doing?
And that's the underscore, whether it's screen to screen, face to face, have fun. I know I've been saying something that's very controversial lately. I said it out as tweets. Don't go everywhere with an agenda to accomplish your goals. How about walking into a holiday event, party, whatever, to have a good time? Because here's the magic. If you go in going, oh, I am going to meet new people, and I'm going to have a good time, and I'm going to learn a few things, the room works you.
Yeah, interesting. Well, and let's talk about that because I think there's when you go to a conference or networking, business networking, right? More than socializing or anything, the purpose is to get more business. How do you make that transition to just going to having fun, having a, you know, we talked to you about, you know, getting married at the Basilica and that resonated with you. And how do you make that transition from having that small talk to a business conversation that makes you memorable, stick out from everybody else?
Well, I think what you did was after we did that, you asked me something about my book and you said, you're writing a book. And I said, so we bring these things up sometimes there's a prepositional phrase within a sentence. It could be a gerund phrase, but don't go all English lit on me. Within a sentence, and we see how someone picks up that cue. So you don't just blast and say, okay, now I've got to go to my agenda.
Right.
Really, it's the old saying, nobody likes to be sold.
Yeah.
When you're at an event and you have a beverage in one hand and an hors d'oeuvre in the other, you keep the conversation reflective of the event you're at. Yes, you do move, but you move carefully and in a nuanced way. And how about this? And instead of oh God, these are the questions I have to ask, how about doing it in a conversational way? But here's the hint. Add a story. It's funny you say that, because I had a client who was in a similar situation, and then you bring in a story that relates to what their issue is, and then you deftly move. And by the way, if the person doesn't want to move because they're so enjoying your social conversation, don't hammer it. If someone likes your social conversation, that means they're engaged with you.
Yeah.
How about this? The face-to-face, when we are at an event, a party, a conference, we'll have a little bit of business. It's in the follow-up, Doug. And I want to say this to the whole audience. The most important word you can get from all this is follow up.
Yeah, so let's say we've invested a lot of money and time into going to a conference or to a party, and we meet a lot of great folks like yourself. How would you suggest following up in a clever and a unique way? Maybe it is screen to screen. I don't know. You tell me. What are some best practices? If you say, give me 3 things to do to follow up to stand out, what would they be?
I hate to say this, but as someone who even photographs her food, I'd say when you have a conversation with someone, take out your smartphone and say, hey, can we have a picture together? It'll help my memory, because then it'll be a wonderful memory of this blah, blah, blah. Take a picture together. And then what you do is you're going to get their card. And please, this is a sidebar. Don't say to people, I don't have cards. Link up with me on LinkedIn. Don't give me homework. Give me a card. I asked for it. Yeah. The marketing is you market to people the way they want to be marketed to. Maybe Joe Schmo, maybe not Schmo, but maybe just Joe in Silicon Valley hasn't had a business card in 10 years, but a whole lot of other people do. They ask you for a card, have one to give it to them. Then what you do is you get the card, and whether it's their cell phone that you text to them, but I think texting is a permission-based situation.
Yeah.
Email them the copy of the 2 of you at the picture saying, what a great conversation. Then you have a visual reminder, but don't wait a month to send that to them. Get no more than 2 or 3 days after you leave the conference. And then you've started the volley. Another thing you can do, yes, you can text, you can invite them to LinkedIn, but that's a generic thing, and LinkedIn is getting more generic. We're getting a lot of trouble at personalizing messages. So instead we have to send their crappy boilerplate. Sorry, LinkedIn, but that's the truth. Personalize as much as you can.
Yeah.
Another thing you can do, I know this is going to sound so retro. It's old Susan school. Pick up your little smartphone, hit the phone app, and call. How about this for a thing? Call, and wait, I'll even show you. Call. And leave, even if they don't pick up the phone, leave a message saying, hey, it was great meeting you at so-and-so. I learned a lot from you. You're so much fun. You're so interesting, smart, savvy, cool. Say cool to me, and I'm really happy. So you have the phone, you have email, you, yes, can do a LinkedIn, a Facebook. There's so many ways, but do it. Do more than one.
Yeah, no, that's great. And even now, so we're having this conversation now, and now we're screen to screen. How do we really make that with that new relationship? What do we then do? Do we ask for referrals? Do we? How do we go about expanding upon and really leveraging the time and that we've had into the relationship to help us with our business?
Well, it's fair to say, hey, what are you working on? Here's a question that actually irritates me. People I hardly know say, how can I help you? What are you talking about? I hardly know you. How do I know? Who are you? How could you help me? And what would I tell you that I would reveal if I don't really have a trust relationship with you? How about this? Someone tells you what they're interested in. and you know someone in your vast network because you have of course been connected to a lot of people, and say, gee, you know, I actually have a mechanic that I love. Or gee, I actually have a fabulous hairdresser who colors the rest of my hair. Offer a connection.
Yeah.
Be the smart person that offers rather than the person that asks, how can I help you? You could also say it another way. Would this be of use to you if I could introduce you to so-and-so?
Yeah.
And I know that sounds formal. You know, it's like I grew up in Chicago. So here's an introduction in Chicago. Hey, Susan, meet Doug. And we did. But we need a little bit more than finesse than that these days. A little information about both people. We're both authors. Oh, Susan, meet Doug. His book is a bestseller. Meet Susan. Her book is a bestseller. You're both from the Midwest.
Yeah.
Down-to-earth values. He's probably a different baseball fan than you are. And Susan, didn't you go to a game in St. Louis when they played the Cubs? Or, you know, I'm just making
so
that
like
up.
going deeper into making that introduction connection. That's great. We talked a lot about a lot of great things you can do. What about things you shouldn't do? The absolute deal breakers that would with all best intentions actually work in reverse of what you would expect it.
Okay, I have a chapter in my book, Secrets of Savvy Networking, that was the don'ts. You know, it sounds like a musical group, actually, from the 60s. But first of all, don't foist your agenda on people. Because people didn't show up at any conference, event, party to have your agenda materialize. The other one is don't use people's names if they haven't given you permission. I had someone, a colleague at National Speakers Association, called my then agent, used my name. I never knew. She actually called me and was irritated. It's permission based. Don't use people's names without permission. Don't forget to keep people in the loop. I give you a lead. It turns into a $100,000 client. And I'm going to find this out 6 months later by accident? No. You keep people in the loop. Let's just say you didn't hear from the person. Let the person know, hey, I just want to let you know I've made contact. I haven't heard from them. We'll let you know when I do. You can never go wrong keeping people in the loop. Maybe that's why I love that phrase growing up in Chicago, because the loop was downtown. But keeping people aware so they're not caught off guard. Another thing you don't do at any event is hog the time of someone who's considered one of the big kahunas. Because everyone wants to meet them. You can make your introduction. You can say, I'd love to follow up with you or whomever you suggest. And they might say, here's my VP or their handler. And then you follow up, because it's in the follow-up the relationship happens. But if you hog the time of someone because you have their attention and there are 5 people behind you waiting, they may not be good at excusing themselves and they'll resent you taking all of their time. Those are just a few. I have so many don'ts. You can go to my website and look up on my blog. Oh my God, the woman's so opinionated. Don't forget to send a thank you note. Who raised you? I mean, how about this? We have gotten to the point that when one of the grandkids will send a text that says, TY, we're so excited. I have friends, and you're going to do this to your son, that raise their kids that they sit down at the age of 4, because they're writing now, and they print, thank you. And mommy or daddy puts it in the mail. It's the same. Why do we forget that as adults? Buy a good pen, buy wonderful stationery. And what I do is I go to museums and I buy their note paper. It doesn't have my information on it. Guess what? I throw a card in it. So it is Chagall. Big deal. It looks beautiful. It stands out.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. You know, I feel like sometimes with professional networking, it's like the movie Groundhog Day.
Oh my God.
Right, where you show up and you get we make mistakes, right? We forget things to do, and then it's like, oh, okay, remember that next time I have to do something a little bit differently to have that.
But here's the thing: what to do if you make a mistake. How about this? I sent a bunch of my friends on Christmas messages via email. This morning I found 10 of them in my outbox. What to do? Oh my goodness. I sent it to them saying, so embarrassed, got stuck in my outbox. Now I have to say Happy New Year. Admit a mistake and turn it around. That's all. People all make mistakes. How about when we forget someone's name? You know, the queen of working room. We forget someone's name. What you say is, oh my goodness, I'm so embarrassed. Your face, I know you, feels like 1,000 years, and my brain isn't retrieving your name. That happens to all of us. If you own that, they'll help you out, and then they'll tell you a story of how they forgot a name and it was a spouse or a parent. So, you know, people have this happen, but when we're honest and open, we say things with a smile, people will connect with us because we're human.
No, those are all great tips, and you definitely have a thank you note coming in the mail.
I'll grade it and send it back to you.
Yes, please do. Appreciate your time being on the show today, Susan. Hope you had a wonderful holiday, and all the best in 2016.
And the same to you. Visit my website for more opinions.
You got it. I'll make sure to put a link on it so everyone will know.
Thanks.
Thank you again, Susan.
You are listening to the Screen to Screen Selling Talk Show hosted by Doug DeVitri, your source to increasing sales, productivity, and the customer experience. In each show, we will sit down with world-class thought leaders to discuss latest trends, innovative concepts, and ideas to keep you ahead of the curve using the latest technology.
Are you ready for more meetings in less time with less expense? Screen to Screen Selling has answers. Screen to Screen Selling is the fastest way to increase sales, productivity, and the customer experience. Screen to Screen Selling is a mindset before it becomes a skill set. Let's look at your beliefs.
Or even like join.me.
Receive access to upcoming episodes of the Screen to Screen Selling Talk Show, special announcements, and insider resources. DeVitri.co/screen to screen. Order Screen to Screen Selling from 800 CEO READ, Amazon, Barnes & Noble, iTunes, Books A Million, and McGraw-Hill Education.